Today we are going to learn high energy nucleon interaction. In previous lectures we have dealt with the low energy nucleon interaction, in which we have calculated this phase shift delta, the scattering cross section, sigma, and along with that we can calculate spin of the projectile particle and also of that target particle. But if you want to go beyond this, if you want to analyze the nuclear and particle physics or nuclear forces in detail, you have to go for the high energy nucleon interaction. And in previous lecture we have also seen the importance of the high energy nucleon interaction to understand the basics of the nuclear physics. So in a low energy nucleon interaction, that can be simply explained by the local potential. Like the problems which we have seen in a low energy nucleon interaction and the deuteron problems. So these could be explained by using the simple local potential, but this is not the case with a high energy nucleon interaction. So suppose this is a, I have taken proton as a projectile particle and neutron as a target particle. So this proton is coming and it is trying to hit this neutron. Now what distance this proton will reach to this neutron, that will depend on the kinetic energy of this projectile particle. So this is a projectile particle and this is a target particle. Now if I increase the kinetic energy of this proton, its velocity will increase and it will go more close to this neutron. So this linear dependence of increase in kinetic energy will increase velocity. This may happen only up to 10 MeV. So from 0 to 10 MeV, I can write from 0 to 10 MeV. So in between this range, if the kinetic energy of this proton is in the range of 0 MeV to 10 MeV, then increase in kinetic energy will increase the velocity of this proton. So this linear dependence is only up to 10 MeV. Now if I increase the kinetic energy of the proton from 10 MeV to, say, if I am in the range of the kinetic energy of the 10 MeV to 20 MeV, then we have to consider increase in relativistic mass. So as we are reaching to nearly, I said, 100 MeV, this relativistic mass, increase in relativistic mass becomes prominent. And if I am in a giga electron volt range, so for a proton, suppose this relativistic mass is doubled. in a giga electron volt range. For example, if I consider a proton, for proton relativistic mass is doubled nearly at 1.9 giga electron volt. Obviously this range will change for different particles. Okay, so the relativistic mass will be doubled at different energies for different particles. This region you cannot consider or you cannot explain the high energy nucleon-nucleon interaction only with the help of a local potential. So this relativistic kinematics, so the relativistic mass or the that can be considered or that can be calculated by using Klein-Gordon equations. So these Klein-Gordon equations, they can calculate this change in relativistic mass regarding to the high energy nucleon-nucleon interaction and for the spinless particles. So these Klein-Gordon equations can explain the high energy nucleon-nucleon interaction for the spinless particles. But we know that the particles which are involved in this high energy nucleon-nucleon interaction like proton and neutron, they are spin half particles, and for this spin half particles, along with the Klein-Gordon equation, if you consider the pion diffraction and addition of some partial waves, you can completely understand the phase shift delta scattering cross section and the nature of the nuclear forces, their spin, their momenta, and how this momentum interact with each other. Everything can be understood by using all of three. So we can say that the high energy nucleon-nucleon interaction could be completely explained with the help of considering all these 3 points. Now according to the quantum electrodynamic theory or quantum chromodynamic theory, whenever there is a interaction between any two particles, so that interaction must be due to the exchange of some particle which we call it as a gauge boson. So when we are dealing with the high energy interaction, when we are speaking of the interaction between the proton and neutron, there must be some exchange particle. So we are trying to deal with those particles. So I would say, suppose here is that neutron which was at rest and proton is nearing to this from this side. So this is the distance between this proton and neutron. If I am applying some energy to this proton, so this will have some velocity and it will near to this neutron. Suppose here it is somewhere 2 femtometer, here it will be somewhere 1 femtometer, and here it will be somewhere 0.7 or 0.5 femtometers. We can make this as a 3 regions. So this is called as a long region, this is called as a medium region, and this is a short range interaction. So this is a long range interaction, medium range interaction, and a short range interaction. So if I apply energy, kinetic energy, to this projectile particle which we have taken here as a proton, and this will try to reach, if I have given the kinetic energy such that it can reach only up to the distance of nearly say distance greater than 2 femtometers, if r is greater than or equal to 2 femtometers. So these interactions are mediated by pseudoscalar mesons. Now if I increase the kinetic energy of this proton, and if it is possible for this proton to reach in the medium region where the distance between the proton and neutron is between 1 femtometer to 2 femtometer, we can write it here as, so this is less than equal to 2 femtometer to 1 femtometer. So this is in femtometers. Okay, so this type of interaction is mediated by scalar mesons. Now if I again increase the kinetic energy of this proton, and if it reaches in the region less than 0.7 femtometer, so if this r is less than equal to 0.5 or 0.7 femtometers, so this type of interactions are mediated by vector mesons. Now we have already seen that mesons are the elementary particles which are having the integral spin. These are one of the type of hardons. So we have already seen that mesons are the mesons are the particles with the integral spin and which take part in strong interactions. Mesons are of three types. So these are the pions, kaons and eta. Now what is a pseudoscalar meson? The pseudoscalar meson is a meson with its spin parity is equal to 0 and parity is negative. For a scalar meson, spin parity is 0 plus, and for a vector meson the spin parity is 1 minus. Examples of this pseudoscalar mesons are the pions. So long range are generally mediated by pions which are having the mass of 140 MeV. So this medium range involves large energy. It means that either it could be mediated by the particle which is having more mass than pions, or it can be mediated by two pions. And the mesons involved in a short range are P meson and omega. I'll write it here, P and omega. So these are the vector mesons. Now see, according to the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, momentum exchange is given by, so momentum can be proportional to h upon 2r, and we know that energy is proportional to p square. Okay, so we can say that a meson is involved in the interaction if its mass is in the energy scale associated to given R. Okay, so thus we can say that if the kinetic energy of the projectile particle increases, the gauge bosons or the mesons which are involved in this, they are heavier. For example, pions are of 140 MeV, whereas the mass of this omega is nearly 700 MeV. So this mass of this p and omega mesons is nearly 700 MeV. So these masses are in MeV. Okay. Thus we can say that the pi is the only meson contributing for the long range interaction. At shorter relative distance, more and more mesons or a meson with a heavier mass will contribute to the interaction. This is a table of the types of the mesons, like along with the pseudo-scalar meson, scalar meson, vector meson. There are tensors. Okay, and this is a classification table of the pseudo-scalar meson, scalar meson, vector meson. Okay, which we can find on the internet easily anywhere.